George Vandermeer Jr., one of the most successful American writer-directors of his time, with a string of blockbusters to his name, but as yet no Academy Awards, was asleep in his palatial villa in the Hollywood Hills, dreaming pleasantly about his latest conquest, when he heard the distinct sound of a gun being cocked in his ear. Wake up! He opened his eyes to see a 9mm Beretta pointed at his face. A woman's face came slowly into focus, peering down at him with a deadpan expression. What the fuck? George collapsed in fright against his monogrammed satin pillows. 3 other figures were gathered around his bed, shrouded in the darkness. There was something distinctly menacing about them, dark, morbid, brooding. A curious rotten aroma sent its tendrils creeping most unpleasantly up his nostrils. Jesus Christ, what is this shit? Don't you recognize me? Asked the woman. George realized she was an actress he'd cast in one of his earliest movies, The Maxwell Identity, an action film that had been his breakthrough as a director. She played the love interest, of course. He couldn't remember what happened to her after that. Hell, he couldn't even remember her name. Angelita, she said, as if reading his mind. That was your character, he said, frowning. No, that's me, Angelita, poor, angelic little dead wife. Her face was wan and water-swollen, river weeds entwined through her dark, dripping curls. George remembered now he'd bumped her off in the first act. He'd had the hero, Jason Maxwell, and his wife drive off a bridge in Lahore, chased by a trio of KGB goons. Jason had survived, but Angelita had slowly drowned before his eyes as he kicked desperately the car window, watching her life slip away in bubbles behind the glass. You killed me off. I drowned, slowly, to give your hero depth. A tragic character flaw, said Angelita. George stared at her, bewildered. The second woman stepped forward, a grotesque vision with matted hair, dark circles under her eyes, and an ominous stain on the front of her tattered white dress. What's the easiest way to give your hero depth? Kill off his wife, she said. George stared at them in disbelief. Who are you? Some kind of crazy feminist cult? What is this, Halloween? The women laughed. Angelita turned to the blonde. Wow, what do you think? Are we? Are we some kind of crazy feminist cult? Because I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, it would be very cool, replied the blonde. But actually, for this guy, I think it's more like Halloween. Okay, I've had enough of this shit. If you don't leave now, I'm calling the cops. George reached for his cell phone. All 4 women aimed their guns at him. You can try, said Angelita. George fell back, deflated. What do you want from me? Why don't we turn on the lights so we can all see each other better? Bella, would you mind? The woman nearest the door turned on the lights. George shrank in horror from the ghastly sight. They were all dead. Gone, kaput, snuffed out, and croaked. Dust had been bitten and buckets definitively kicked. These women had certainly met their maker, and each in the most macabre fashion. The stain on the blonde woman's dress was, of course, blood. And now George remembered. She'd been the wife of the rookie cop in his 3rd action movie, Renegade Man, Days of Vengeance. George had bumped her off during a robbery in which the hero arrives home after a night out drinking, just too late to save her from a gang of villainous burglars. She dies tragically in his arms to his screams of grief and rage, after which he stands tall in the moonlight and vows to exact bloody revenge on all the world's criminals, becoming in no time at all the teetotaling vigilante cop Renegade Man, driven by the underlying desire throughout all his heroic actions to avenge his darling Celestine, whispered George. Yep, another angelic name. I think we have kind of a theme going here, said Celestine. The beautiful, innocent, archetypal woman. Always the victim, the prize, the sacred vessel, to be guarded, treasured, even worshipped. But heaven forbid she actually develops a fucking personality. Okay, I get it, said George. You girls got together, broke into my house, thought you'd have some fun. Well, this has been really funny, in a seriously fucked up way. But that's enough now. Time to break up the party. I'm really sorry, girls. The 3rd woman spoke up. George noticed that her head was lurching off her neck at a deeply unhealthy angle. Oh dear, she trilled. This poor man is labouring under a terrible misapprehension. He still thinks we're the actresses who played us and not really us. With her clipped British accent, she was the archetypal celluloid Englishwoman, bright as a button and crisp as toast, a divine amalgamation of the spectacled librarian and latter-day Mary Poppins. My goodness, how rude of me not to introduce myself. But then again, seeing as you wrote me, I thought you might remember me. Davina, said George. Yes, divine Davina, she smiled fondly. At least, that's what they called me before my dreadful, untimely demise. I think I'll stop.